up once again. Everything that start gotta end. So don't waste time, get it in. Why wait? Say it tomorrow, but you got today. Put them excuses away. Pick up the pace. If you really want it, then you gotta chase. Hey, I need a whole lot of space, make some room. I gotta prove that I'm nothing like you. And I'ma do it. If it's in the way, then we going through it. Like a Peloton, gotta keep it moving. Talk is too cheap, you just gotta do it. You ain't gotta like it, cause it's that to prove. Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle.
Let's get it.
Only first place finishes, so I seek and destroy every one of my nemesis. My power limitless, and my scorecard is perfect, it don't have no blemishes. No apologies, cause I ain't ya, it's just my nature that makes me a different type of creature. I'm a bitch, bonafide gamer. Before you play me, better read the disclaimer. I'm that force to be reckoned with. I know your mama didn't warn you, you shouldn't be messing with. You don't compare to me. We're not the same, just no similarity. Moment of clarity, you should be scared of me. Run all, you'll never get rid of me. So incredibly outdone. If we go to war, I'm the one you can't outrun.
Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle. Just battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle me. When it's time to ball. We back in the field, we ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle, you know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number one. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break your back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way. Play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness, born to be great, ahead of the game. In front of the pack, leading the way, it's time to reign. The kingdom's here, this is our year. Been to the bottom, ain't nothing to fear, we running the game. Rush in the field, for every yard, on every play. Nobody's safe, rise when we fall, but never stay down. The champs is here, doing it for the 10. This is our moment, this is our time. The time is now, it's time to rise. This is our moment, our moment. It's our time. Feet in the dirt. Nose to the ground. Like the crack of dawn. You can't stop the shine. Moment after moment. Day after day. It's our time. Lock and loaded, it's time for war. Ha. Tear it down, kick in the door. Yeah, I want it all, give me some more. Ha. I want it all, give me some more. I want it all, give me some more. Yeah. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war. Like pandemonium, I set it off. Yeah. Sacrifice, I bear the cross. Legendary, I'm a big dog. Hard knock on the front line. Pure blood, my bloodline. Headshots the first time. My aim good, bullseye. Warfare. Don't play fair, don't play fair. You not sure? Don't go there, I'm right here. No fear, I'm ready to go at top speed. No brick wall can block me. No army can stop me. Yeah, I want it all and I can't lose. I came far and I won't stop. This my time, I pay dues. Yeah, it's war time and I won't retreat. I want it all, give me some more. I kill them all, won't taste defeat. Nah. Now bow down at the king's feet. It's time for war. I want it all, give me some more. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war.
Northwest Racing Series. We welcome you to the playoffs. We welcome you to the round of 8 finale as well. I'm Wesley Outland. We welcome you to coverage of Rocket Racing Media, the community radio network, and iRacing on LSRTV. That is not Terry Radford. That is Jason Rockefeller. However, Terry's not able to join us. He'll be ready to go for the truck finale on location at Florence Motor Speedway this Thursday night. But Jason, welcome aboard to the Cup Series. Just like the truck race on Thursday, the same stages set for 175 laps. One more opportunity for 4 drivers to punch their ticket in to race for a championship next Monday night for the finale of the 2022 season at Homestead. Welcome aboard, buddy.
Yeah, happy to be here. I've been watching some of the broadcasts. Some good racing for sure. I love the trucks, but I'm really excited to see these Cup cars here. I haven't really seen too much Cup racing on iRacing here at Phoenix, so it's going to be really interesting tonight to see how these cars react here at the new Phoenix layout. You know, you got guys in here who are trying to, punch their ticket into the round of 4 at Homestead. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see these drivers on track here in just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, always behind the scenes, Charles Wooten for Rocket Racing Media, Live Sim Racing, and CRN, punching the buttons, making sure that all of the broadcast goes well. And, looking at the players that will be battling, obviously, Lake Peterson, Dan West Jr., suffice to say, those are guys that I believe you're going to see them race for a championship, obviously, next Monday night at Homestead. But I think the same scenario can take place. We could see a bottom feeder driver at the bottom climb in, make it in with a win to make the championship four at Homestead next week. Or, Jason, we might see another driver like what Caden Anderson did in the Truck Series on Thursday night, win the race, put themselves in a win column, add another tally to their win mark, or even that first career win. But other than that, we might have to go by virtue of the points to determine who will go to Homestead for the Cup Series title next Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, right now, we don't have a graphic to show, but right now, from what I'm seeing, Brian Reynolds, he holds the last transfer spot right now. He's the last driver in. You have Brian Barnes in, or not, and he's out by 4 points. Caden Anderson is out by 13 points. Jeff Stab now 16, and Kevin Smith is 57 points out. Kevin Smith gonna have to do something here tonight if he's gonna want to win this race, because no doubt, must-win situation. Jeff, I want to say he could probably make it in on points, but more than likely going to have to win. Caden won here on Thursday in the trucks. Keep in mind, he's going to be very fast here tonight. I'm my pick to win tonight, regardless of how qualifying ends up here in a bit. I think Caden Anderson goes to victory lane. And Brian Barnes, I mean, all he needs to do is have a really good, smooth night. Brian Reynolds is in, Cole Raz, he's always a good driver, and Dan West Jr. and Lake Peterson already in. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. We saw on Thursday with the trucks, it was a very straight green flag run. Dan West Jr. dominated pretty much the first half of the race, and then everything just kind of started piling in. A lot of guys getting loose off turn 2, spinning the tires off the corner, hitting that seam with the right rear, spinning out, causing incidents. And, Caden Anderson, he came out on top of both the West drivers, father and son. I mean, he showed them all who was boss, and I expect him to do the same here tonight.
I think a couple of keynote drivers that we're going to definitely mention that you mentioned a few moments ago has to be Brian Barnes. He was Mr. Consistency all year long. At a long stretch of the season, he was the number one guy in the top of the points pylon because of being consistent, because of staying out of trouble, being there at the end. He's literally got on the cusp of making it to his first championship Final Four in the Northwest Racing Series Cup division tonight if he can hold on. And another driver that I think we got to watch is Jeff Stabnow. Remember what Jeff Stabnow did, a walk-off win at Kentucky to put himself in the playoffs. Finally, after ending a 2.5-year winless streak, he went to victory lane, and he's been consistent throughout the playoffs. But now he's in a situation, Terry, where Brian Barnes, Jeff Stabnow, these are drivers that are going to probably give everything that they've got, Jason, to try to make it in, no doubt, for a run for a championship. And I'm sorry I called you Terry because, damn it all, you got the label down there at the bottom. That is not Terry Radford. That is J-Rock Carrot Top.
Yep, J-Rock Carrot Top. Yeah, I mean, Jeff very well could do that here tonight. Right now in qualifying, he's sitting 6th up on the board. I mean, Jeff did it at Kentucky. I was watching that race myself, and I believe it was a strategy race. And I mean, and Jeff came out of there. He pitted at the right time, right place, right time, came out. That very well could happen tonight. Now, obviously, Kentucky and Phoenix, two totally separate tracks. But you very well could see Jeff. He is one of those guys who, he might not always be up in the top 3 or a winning driver consistently, but Jeff somehow, some way is always able to make his way up towards the front and somehow just end up in the right place at the right time, just like how I said with his win in Kentucky this year. So don't count Jeff Stabnow out, folks. I guarantee he's going to be up there. And right now up on the board, Kevin Smith is in 3rd. He's in a must-win situation. Kevin Smith, another driver. He's solid in the trucks. Can't wait to see how both those drivers race here tonight at Phoenix.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It should be fun. It should be exciting. It should be interesting. And again, you think of drivers like, of course, Mr. Dan West Jr., who's at the top of the board right now in qualifying. Lake Peterson, Cole Raz. I think they've put themselves in the opportunity to race for a championship next week at Homestead. So honestly, if you think about it, there's one spot up for grabs, whether it be one of the drivers in the bottom of the 8 to make it in by a win, or another driver that's got to get in by virtue of the points. No doubt about it. It should be an exciting turn of events to determine who will race for the championship next Monday night at Homestead. We're here at Phoenix Raceway. We're going to take a quick break. We're back with more, and we're going on track next.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway, Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Back here at Phoenix Raceway, the penultimate race of the season for the Northwest Racing Series Cup cars, and they are gridding. Let's give you the starting lineup as these drivers are ready to go here in the Valley of the Sun. Well, Dan West Jr., he will not be defending his third opportunity for a truck championship after last Thursday. However, he's looking to try to go for his first Cup title, and he is trying to punch it in the Final Four. Virtue of fast time, Dan West Jr. on the pole. Brian Reynolds says, of course, Jason mentioned, he needs to have a stellar drive. He is on the outside of row one. Row two, Devin Smith in the 00, and Brian Barnes. We mentioned him in pre-race chat. He'll start fourth. The 2020 Series champion, Sean Brightsman in 46, and another driver that needs to walk off into the playoff four, Jeff Stabnow in 24. Row four will find Lake Peterson, the dominator of the year in the number 9. And Chad Malik will be in the 06. Your top 10, Chris White, champion last year, not running for a title this year. And Brett Johnson, Jason, your top 10 here at Phoenix.
Yeah, and then the round of the rest of the field, you got row 6, you got John Ottenbacher in the number 89, and James Vining in the 333. Row 7, you got Ryan Bloom, always a very fast driver in that number 25, and Cole Raz, who needs to have a consistent night in that number 10. Row 8, you got Gary Nichols in the number 8 and Chris Kamir in the 15. Troy Daggett, the 99, and Caden Anderson, who needs to have a good night as well. Row 10, Stephen Paulison and Toby Ritters in that 23, and that'll round out your rest of your field along with Frank Harris in the number 11, starting in row 11.
Yep, there's the starting lineup as they are taking their pace laps here. Ready to see what goes down in this opportunity. Green flag is out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a race, and this is the penultimate race of the season. Final race to make it into the championship 4. And right off the gas, it's going to be Dan West Jr. pulling away from everybody. Nice, comfortable lead on Reynolds, Smith, and Moore as they work the back straight away there, Jason.
Yeah, heading to 3, West had a really good start, just like he did in the trucks there on Thursday night. They're going to roll the bottom in 3 and 4. Everybody kind of just trying to, maintain their stuff very early on. Got a lot of racing to go, but it's all down. Oh, we got a car. Oh,
trouble.
big crash. There we go. 45 around.
No caution, though.
That's the 99.
No caution. Chris
no
Camary involved. Camary caught up in it in 15. I think Daggett might be the other car involved. And there he is stuck on the wall. He's going to probably have to take a tow vacation back to the pits. And the race continues on. We stay green.
Yeah, that's interesting to see that they didn't throw the yellow there. That's interesting to see that they didn't throw the yellow there, actually, because I'm actually kind of concerned because the 99, you saw a lot of drivers there heading down the front straightaway, somewhere all the way to the inside wall, like Chase Elliott was a little bit more than a week ago when he spun down there. So kind of shocked that they didn't throw the caution, but Chris Camire and Troy Daggett are both in the pits right now, more than a lap down, but everybody's kind of settling down just a little bit more. Dan West continues to lead here on lap number 4.
There's Kevin Smith there, the 00. He was a little loose earlier. Got Sean Brightsman behind him. Peterson in front of them. This is in the top 5. 27.56 just got turned by Jeff Stabnow. He currently is in 4th position, and he is the fastest car on the racetrack right now here at Jason.
Yeah, he just turned a really stellar lap so far. Dan West, your leader, just ran a 28 lap, but Jeff right now, he's really fast. I noticed him that in the corners, he's been able to roll a lot better coming into the center as we ride on board with him now, coming up to the back bumper of Brian Burns as he heads down to 3. See if he does a little bit of downshift in here. No, we will not. He's still in 4th gear. But to the inside of Brian Barnes now. This is going to be for the 3rd place spot. He's going to go all the way down below the dog leg. And here they come into turn number 1. Jeff Stabnow looking to take that 3rd spot away from Brian Barnes.
One of the fastest cars on the racetrack, as we just mentioned earlier, for Jeff Stabnow. And you know he's on a mission. The man is on a mission tonight, because if he can do a walk-off like he did to get in the playoffs, winning Kentucky, which seems like 7-8 weeks ago, and has been able to be consistently able to stay in the run for a championship up till this point, he needs a win to make it in. Down to the inside, Reynolds' car now up in front of him. Little loose was Briar Reynolds. And all the while, Dan West Jr., 5-6 laps in, up in front in 55.
Yeah, Jeff right now is just heading to the inside. He's so quick right now. He's got to be careful, though, to not burn up his tires too early here. I mean, we're only about 8 laps in now, but he's heading to the inside of Briar Reynolds for the 2nd spot. I'd like to sit here and say I think Jeff Stabnow might be fast and lead. A little bit of contact there off turn number 2 between him and the 12 of Briar Reynolds. They head into 3 now. Jeff's still going to roll better a little bit on the bottom. And here comes Blake Peterson, one of the guys who's been fast all season long. Looking for him to play a factor. He's already locked into the next round. But Jeff is going to take away the 2nd spot from Briar Reynolds, and he's going to set his sights now on your race leader, Dan West Jr. They're at 2.
Still got a long way to go, though. Patience is the name of the game. This race is 175 miles, 175 laps. This track at just at a mile in length. And remember the new configuration also. Into turn number 1. There's the dog leg that used to be the back straightaway here at Phoenix. Now they go into turns 1 and 2. Turn 1 and 2 goes to the back straightaway, what used to be the front stretch at Phoenix back in the day. And again, Jason, me and you and Terry talked about this on Thursday night for the truck event. The same could be said for the Cup race. You got to drive this track differently because of the configuration it is now.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, down to the inside of the racetrack, out of the corners here, I mean, you're just so loose. But once you hit the start-finish line, you got to remember, the start-finish line, folks, used to be on what is the back straightaway, which is what they're coming to now as we ride on board with Sean Brightsman. The start-finish line used to be right there, right where Sean just passed. And this would be turn 1, which is now turn 3. You know, so you're going to approach this track a whole lot differently than what you would just a handful of years ago. You know, and this new configuration that they've added to Phoenix here over the last few years, restarts are crazy. You're going to see guys jumping all the way to the inside of the racetrack you know, on these restarts heading into the dog leg, you know, and you're going to take one so deep, and in turn 3, you just got to really settle it in there, and hopefully the thing sticks. But yeah, definitely for sure, you got to drive this track a lot differently than you would the old configuration, even though it's pretty much the same track.
Saw that little hiccup on the start, but between Chris Kamari and Troy Daggett, where no caution was thrown, but since then, pretty straight narrow run. Kevin Smith had some problems earlier. He's now back rolling straight again. And in a strong top 5 in 4th. Jeff Stabnow, by the way, to the lead. He just passed Dan West Jr. Stabnow, man on a mission in the LSRTV 4K Ford.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they just ran about the same identical lap times, both of 28.3, which Dan West a handful of laps ago ran that. But even before Jeff's 28.3, just right now, he earlier was 0.3 faster than Dan West Jr. So unfortunately for Dan West Jr., this is not looking like the truck race from Thursday night. He is not the fastest guy out here. It's Jeff Stabnow, somebody who I just said earlier before they gridded here at Phoenix, that Jeff is always a guy who somehow manages his way up to the front by being at the right place at the right time. Well, folks, I'm bluffing pretty much, because here he is. He's leading this race now. I mean, yes, still early on, but Jeff has shown that he has come here to play tonight. He pretty much needs to win this race. And right now, he's just putting on one heck of a show here for these fans at home watching and listening, because right now, he's your race leader over Dan West Jr. as he heads into 1.
Yeah, he certainly is doing exactly what needs to be done to put himself in an opportunity, to have an opportunity to go to the Championship 4 finale. But again, this is a long, long way to go. Only 15 laps in, 160 laps to go, no doubt, as the field works their way back to the line. Stabnow, West, Peterson, Reynolds, Smith, your top 5. They work and climb the banking again through the dog leg, and now they sit their way back into turn 1.
Yeah, everybody's kind of just single file right now. Now that these guys have some laps on their tires, thing to note about the next-gen car is, yes, the tires wear out, but they don't wear out nearly as quickly, I'd want to say, as the old Gen 6 cars did. But when they do wear out, man, are these cars a handful to drive. They get so loose. It takes the cars about 25, 30 laps to really start to wear in, compared with the old car where you run about 15 to 20 laps. That's when they start wearing. But you see right here, got a battle behind Brian Barnes. That's Caden Anderson, Kevin Smith, and Sean Brightsman there off the corner. But like I was saying, these tires here, late in the runs, they're going to wear out. These guys are going to have a handful with these NASCAR next-gen cars, but they're doing a great job at holding on to them. Everybody's single file right now, but some battles scattered around here at Phoenix.
Caden Anderson, biggest climber of the race so far, up 12 positions in the number 6 spot. And of course, remember, he won the truck race at Phoenix on Thursday. Not being a playoff championship 4 finalist, but he really showed his strengths. And you gotta wonder again, Jason, the restart zones, the boxes, who will take advantage of that opportunity, that unique opportunity that we saw Caden Anderson use to win the truck race on Thursday? Will it happen tonight in the Cup race?
It very well could, especially if Caden does get to lead. You see him really loose there out of turn 2, or in the center of 1 and 2, I should say. He was able to hang on to it. Great save, Caden. Great job by him for sure. But back to what I was saying, yeah, for the folks watching and listening at home, iRacing's rule, and now that they have the Geico restart zones, it's a setting that you can enable on iRacing where the leaders of the race has to go in the Geico restart zone. But prior to that, still the default rule on iRacing is whenever the pace car heads to pit road and crosses that pit road commitment line, the leader of the race is allowed to go anywhere between the time when the pace car hits the commitment line and between that and the green flag being waved. So Caden Anderson, unlike most drivers who would restart in the Geico restart zone or heading into 3 during Thursday's race, he was starting pretty much right on the back straightaway almost, about halfway down, sometimes even less. So if there's anybody who's going to take advantage of the restarts here tonight, as you see some close battling there, right there in 1 and 2, I believe that's Cole Razor. No, that's the 6. I believe, I'm not even sure, but anyways, like I was saying, yeah, he was taking advantage. He was taking advantage of the restarts. I mean, it very well could be him that does just that tonight if he does get to the race lead.
Audenbacher down to the inside, little contact there, but Kevin Smith, Chad Malik's car, little loose, losing ground. They save it. We stay under the green flag. 23 laps completed this time by. Dan West Jr. got back around Jeff Stabnow. Blake Peterson will go with him. As we have new cars up in the front. And Fred Johnson around in the 7. More cars, I believe, just crashed. No caution yet. Wow. And that was also Frank Harris's car.
Tough break for Frank. He was running solidly. A lot of damage to that race car. Again, he's going to have to come in.
Yeah, but again, Jason, still no yellow flag. The leaders are coming after him out of turn 4. There he is, the pack. He's a lap down. Replay on the bottom of the little screen to the right. Look at this. Whoa, he just turned into somebody. Was that Ritter's?
Yeah, I believe so. The 7 of Brett Johnson was loose out of dogleg. I think he made contact with somebody, spun out, and then Frank Harris was just trying to avoid right there. And I think that he got so caught up with seeing that was happening, he just got really loose into the dogleg and just overcorrected. That's a thing with the next-gen cars. It's very, very hard to save these things compared to other cars. Like, yes, the Xfinity car is super hard to save. The truck's definitely easier to save for sure. But these Cup cars, because of the way that the racket bending is with the steering and stuff like that, these things are super, super hard to save. And you will overcorrect faster than pretty much anything on this planet. I mean, it's crazy to see, because I remember when iRacing first released these cars, and even now, you're into a corner, especially when the tires are worn out, and if you get loose and if you just try to correct that thing, if you correct it in the wrong way, you are overcorrecting head-on into the wall. And that's exactly what Frank Harris did out of the dogleg.
However, somehow, some way, he's able to keep on going. And no caution has been called either. And it's not been without its share of having a chance of a yellow flag to come out. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we don't have a yellow too early on. I mean, we did see in the truck race. I mean, yes, there was a little bit more trucks and cars, or cars, trucks, whatever you want to call them, on the racetrack for that race. But even here tonight, with the way that these cars handle, I wouldn't be shocked if later on in runs we do get a yellow. I mean, it's common to happen here, but so far it's playing out just like the truck race on Thursday, where everything was really green earlier on, and then all of a sudden it just started becoming caution after caution. But right now, the biggest story on the racetrack is that Jeff Stabnow is falling all the way back to the 5th spot. Just like I said, probably he was going to burn up his stuff early because of how fast he was. And Dan West Jr.'s back out front with Blake Peterson. He's trying to hunt him down with just a little over 2 seconds between those two.
Peterson, the man in the number 2 spot now. We got a caution on the speedway. Yellow flag flies. This is Sean Breitzman. Something amiss really on the 46. Loose. Man, we'll get the replay for you here in just a moment. It looks like the lead. We got pit stops happening here. Yeah.
Oh, man. He just loses it. Something that's interesting, because I wonder, that is common for if that thing possibly just got too low in the apron and spun out. But you know what? Because of these next-gen cars, I really kind of wonder if he downshifted into the corner and the back end just came out around him. He just downshifted too early. But, I mean, it's possible. But, I mean, more than likely, he probably just got loose down there. But, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, though, if he downshifted too early. But we got pit stops right now.
Yeah, leaders are on pit road, playoff contenders on pit road, and obviously you want to have flawless pit stops. You do not want to have any mistakes made like Lake Peterson. You see what he just did. But Dan West Jr. will beat him out. Lake Peterson, Briar Reynolds, Brian Barnes, Jeff Stabnow will come out 5th at the end of these pit stops.
Yeah, Jeff's going to be on fresh tires, though, here on the restart, so I wonder if he's going to be able to climb his way back up to the front. But the only person I could really see being in his way is Lake Peterson. He's very fast. You got Ryan Bloom in 6th. He's up 7 spots from where he was, Cole Raz. But right now, I'd say Jeff Stabnow is probably his biggest competition on the restarts is probably going to be Lake Peterson.
Understanding that Sean Brightsman's car, radio communication, it just broke loose. Not sure what happened, how it transpired. It just broke loose and nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
And you gotta wonder, Jason, if that's going to be something that's going to happen, several times today. We get about 30, 35 laps to the green flag run. Tires start to fade away. Car starts getting loose. Handling starts to tighten up, freeing up, and then around will be some car.
Yeah, it for sure is going to be interesting to see. And the fact, too, is that we're the daytime compared to what we were on Thursday. And with these cars, the way the tires work here with the low-profile tires and the way the next-gen car drives, I wouldn't be shocked if we do see more of this, Wesley, for sure. Because out of these corners, these guys are slick. Out of turn 4, it's slick. But out of turn 2, that's going to be your troublesome spot. I'm surprised that we're seeing so many guys, though, getting loose out of the dogleg and especially going into turn 1. So it's definitely going to play a factor. You could bet your bottom dollar. I bet you that we're going to have more cautions, especially out of turn 2 here tonight.
Lights are off on the pace car. We'll get ready to settle them in for the restart here as Dan West Jr. is the man out in front. Dan West Jr., Lake Peterson, front row. Briar Reynolds in row 2. Stabnow, Bloom, Raz and White, Malik Ottenbacher. Ready to bring them back to the green when we come back. First, we'll pause for network identification on the Community Radio Network with the Northwest Racing Series playoffs in Phoenix.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Back here at Phoenix Raceway, wondering when they're going to fire. The pace car is in. They're going to take this restart all the way to the restart box as it should be. As Dan West Jr. takes him into the Geico restart zone, pounds the gas. Green is back out. Catches Peterson, Reynolds, Barnes all asleep at the wheel, and we are back underway into turn number 1.
Yeah, Peterson, though, he's only about a few car lengths back, but Dan West, great restart by him, being able to take off perfectly in the Geico restart zone, went in about a center, but here they come off turn 2, down the back straightaway, battle for third, though. Brian Barnes looking to the inside of the 12 of Briar Reynolds. That's for position. One car way up the track. That looks to be Ryan Bloom in the number 25, but they're all fanning out down the front straightaway into 1.
Back to the restart on lap number 35. And Chad Malik's got a problem off pace. Damaged on that car. 0-6, especially on the left front. Look at the sheet metal dangling.
Oh, left front's coming apart. The left front's coming apart. No, the left front's coming apart. That car, I think the left front's, the wheel's coming off. That's a problem with these next-gen cars. They're so sensitive. You bend these toe links, and especially with the wheels, too. I've seen wheels fall off in these things. I would not be surprised if that left rear is coming off. If I were him, I'd get the pit road as soon as possible.
As soon as possible, no doubt about it. As right now, 37 of 175 being completed on the board. Still a long way to go in this race. And it all determines who will be the championship 4 next Monday night at Homestead. Truck Championship at Homestead this Thursday night as well. And remember, We've got coverage all weekend, beginning Wednesday to Saturday, from the 30th running of the NASCAR South Carolina Charlie Powell Memorial 400 Weekend, featuring Dale Earnhardt Jr. and more. Terry Radford and myself will be along for that. We've got special finish line shows, the qualifying pill draw pit party on Friday night. New graphics are on the way, and so much more. It'll be pretty cool, Jason.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see all that stuff go on this week. You know, especially now that, you know, for NASCAR fans, you know, the race season's over. You know, you still got Formula One, still got some other things going on. But I mean, for those hardcore stock car fans, you know, you're wondering, you know, what's that? You know, what are you gonna do without NASCAR? Well, I tell you what you gotta do. You know, you go, yeah, easy, enjoy life, as our producer Cody Wooten says. But you got all these short track stuff. You know, go to your local short tracks. Some places are still putting on shows, but besides that too, you got a lot of events coming up. You said it before. You know, you got the race weekend at Florence coming up. You know, you got the Chili Bowl coming up during the winter time. You got the Snowball Derby. All these really insane races going on throughout the winter time. You know, subscribe to those, you know, those streaming platforms that are streaming them. You know, tune into the news, everything. I'm just excited to see the coverage of Florence this week. I can't wait to see what you and Terry and everybody does over there. I'm looking forward to it. Never seen a race at Florence. Know a little bit about the track, but cannot wait to see that weekend.
A very unique racetrack, no doubt about it. By the way, Flow Racing will have the broadcast coverage of that event Saturday night and Friday as well. And there goes Stab now, down to the inside, coming after Brian Barnes for this spot now. And this is Reynolds right behind him, the top five. They'll send it off back into turn to number one off the dog leg. And I think another thing, Jason's got to be patience. Patience is the name of the game here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jeff, I'm watching his car into turn one especially. He is sailing it down into these corners into 1 and 3. But off the corner, he's just not putting the power down enough. You know, we saw it in that first run, right before that first caution. Jeff drove all the way up to the front. He put about 15, 20 laps on these tires, maybe even 25, like I said earlier. His tires were wearing out. He used them so much trying to drive up to the front that eventually they just faded out. He fell all the way to about 5th or 6th, and here he is now in the restart in 3rd. He's kind of having some trouble passing Brian Barnes earlier in that number 4. Now he's got by him, but he's going to try to chase after Lake Peterson, who's been one of the fastest guys all season long. But Jeff right now in this green flag run so far, not nearly as fast as he was in that first green flag run, but he's trying to chase down Lake Peterson in that 2nd spot as he sails it off into 1.
Nice from the view of the Lake Peterson car down the back stretch going to 3. And all the while behind him is Stab now at Barnes. Lake Peterson, no doubt about it, knows they have punched his ticket into the championship before. And again, just one of those dominating drivers. Most wins of anybody this year. Of course, the driver that currently is in the number 1 seed, even into this final race. 12 wins. How about that, Jason? 12 wins for the number 9.
That's crazy. He very well could make it number 10 and number 11 within these next 2 races. I mean, right now he's chasing down Dan West Jr. Obviously, like keep saying, still a long time to go, but he's been one of those most consistent drivers all season long. You just said it, 9 wins for that number 9 car. Beautiful.
12.
Or that beautiful Hooters. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to get up to the front here past West and, you know, possibly go on to win this race. You said it before. He's already punched his ticket into the championship 4, so he's really just out here for, you know, to show his speed, show that I'm still the guy to watch out for at Homestead. But don't count off Jeff Stab now, trying to do possibly a walk-off win. He's still fast. Just wondering though, as if this run progresses, if he learned his lesson in that first run, is he going to save enough tire, or will he be able to hang in there with Lake Peterson and Dan West Jr. as this run goes on?
Yeah, 12 wins for Lake Peterson this year to go along with his 10 poles. 16 top 5s and 21 top 10s. is a 34-point gap on Dan West Jr., who also has 3 wins on the year. One of those was a playoff win to put himself into the championship 4. Cole Raz, another driver that has been consistent. 6 wins on the year for that driver. Of course, he won the opening race at Daytona. And with the 17 top 5s, 19 top 10s, he's been done there in the battle too.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to
There's
see
Stab now
Cole's
in the
gonna be able to
24.
win.
Yep. There's Peterson on the inside. He's looking for the lead, Jason. Trying to come after
here he
Dan
is.
West Jr.
Yeah, he was a little bit faster that last time around, 28.36 to Dan West's 28.40. And now Jeff Stabnow back behind them. He's starting to fade off just a little bit, just like I said he might. But Lake Peterson, here he is. He's to the back bumper of West. West gets a little tight. Here comes Peterson to the inside for the race lead and down the front straightaway at Phoenix.
The number 1 seed driver looking for the lead here at Phoenix. He's already going to Homestead, but he's looking for another win. But Dan West Jr. battles back on the inside, can't get there. And guess what's happening? Stabnow reeling them in also into 3.
Yeah, Jeff's trying to close in the gap right now. Those 2 drivers getting side by side is what he wants to see, but Lake is pretty much about 1 or 2 car lengths now in front of Dan West. Going to try to set his sails going the right direction now, and now that he's out front, I don't know if anybody's going to have anything for that number 9 car. But Dan West pulled one heck of a move out of 2 just a handful of laps ago. He crossed him over, tried to get to the bottom, wasn't enough momentum. 9 was able to take that spot back away from him. And whoa, Jeff, hang on to it, brother. Into turn 3, he just sailed it in there, got really loose. I don't know if he overdrove the corner. It sure as heck seemed like it there into the corner. Jeff was so loose. Oh, my goodness. Looked like he was trying to pull a slide job over at Limeland. That was crazy. But good save by Jeff. He'll still hang on, though, to the 3rd spot.
Back straightaway. There's Anderson. He's in 8th, up 10 spots. And he climbed all the way 16 positions, now making 11 as he battles alongside the champion in the Dubby Energy 47 champion of last year, Chris White.
Yeah, I don't know if Chris is going to be too happy with Caden Anderson after that move out of turn 4, because Caden really used him up as Caden's loose out of 2. That's going to open the door for about 2 to 3 drivers behind him. Chris White back on the back bumper of him, but Caden was able to save it. Keeps going now out of turn 4. Those cars throw a blanket over them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Anderson, White, Ottenbacher, and Smith. Smith, who needs an absolute he needs to pull something out of his hat today if he wants to win. But if I were the 47 out of turn 4 just a handful of laps ago, wouldn't be too happy, because Anderson sure enough used up the racetrack out of turn 4 pretty much and almost put Chris White in the wall off 4.
Battling alongside, that's White. And then, of course, now you see Smith and Ottenbacher closing in the Catman. James Vining, 333. Sean Brightsman, remember, brought out a caution earlier. 1 yellow flag of the race, and he is right back in the number 12 position, still on the lead lap. As right now, as we close in on 60 laps of this race, 17 cars on the lead lap. Frank Harris, first car 1 lap down there, Jason.
Yeah, so far, a pretty clean race besides those no cautions and the one incident we had. But, I mean, Sean Brightsman so far, solid recovery. Still 12th. Lead lap, though. That's good news. Still got a long ways to go. I believe it was him, though, Wesley. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Sean on Thursday night. In fact, he got loose out of 2 and hit the wall, and he came back, I believe, for a very solid finish. So, shades of Thursday night for Sean Brightsman, if I'm correct, if that was him on Thursday who did that. And hopefully, maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to get up there at the end of this race if it does play out like it did on Thursday night.
Yeah, Sean had a problem and brought out a caution early in the race, and he had to win the race on a walk-off to try to make it into the championship 4, and he came up one spot shy in the second position as Caden Anderson picked up the win, his third win of the Northwest Racing Series trucks on the year. And there you see now Jeff Stabnow, Cole Raz behind him, Brian Barnes.
Yeah, Jeff has fallen off a lot ever since this run went green. I mean, we talked about it before. Jeff is so strong on these restarts. Struggled a little bit earlier on in this run, but then he was able to close in, reel in the leaders. But once he got there, he just couldn't do anything with it. He's trying so hard to drive up to the front that I believe he's just, personally from what I'm seeing, I believe he's just really burning up the tires. You know, I mean, he sends it in so deep, especially with that save he had in the middle of 3 and 4. That was crazy because that could have been race-ending damage to his race car there. But that was a great save by him. But Cole Raz right back behind him now. He's trying to get around him. I think Jeff's motto tonight, if he really wants a shot to try to win tonight, he's got the car. He knows he does. As long as he can manage it, he can win. But if that's not the case, he's going to need probably a really short run to the finish, because we know for sure Jeff, though, is the fastest car on short run speed. It's just going to be a matter, though, is if that's going to be the way this race plays out in the end.
20 laps away, this time by from halfway in this race. One caution so far to halt things. And all the while, Lake Peterson is the driver that is out in front leading the way. Lake Peterson, Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, Cole Raz, Brian Barnes. And here's some pearls of wisdom from our producer-director. Charles, what are you thinking, buddy?
You know, I was sitting here, just wanted to talk real bad, so I told you to bring me in. But, we talk about these Hail Melons and Hail Marys and what people got to do to win. You know, I was sitting here thinking anything is possible. Just to show how anything is possible, in the state of Texas, we had snow today. So if we can have snow in the state of Texas, I mean, surely somebody like Jeff Stabnow, who, has been on a, as you were, a snide or a slump and got only 1 year win this year, he could probably pull this out. I know I talked to him a little earlier, and he said, 11 laps, I may be wrecking this car. 18 laps in, he's leading the race. So, I think anything's possible here. Again, if you can get snow in Texas, you can definitely get somebody who hasn't won a whole lot of races to win one tonight.
There you go.
Thank you for the kind words of wisdom.
A sad-looking moon over Phoenix, and that's another thing we haven't really even talked about. Also, Jason, as we look at the battle now, heating up for the lead as Dan West Jr. reeling in Lake Peterson. I will tell you this also. We're racing in the daytime here at Phoenix this afternoon on the virtual iRacing sim. We're not racing under the lights like the truck race was on Thursday.
Yeah, and that's going to make this track, now that the sun is beating down, wonder if we could get an update report possibly, or a weather update report possibly.
Weather,
but yeah,
right.
because
there it is.
Yeah, there we go. 80 degrees, air temp, the track temp's 89, which honestly isn't that hot for this racetrack with the sun beating down. Wind speed 7 miles an hour currently. But as this race, plays out in the rest of the day, it's going to get hotter out there. These tires are going to take a beating here today. With just, we're a little, I think, we're almost to halfway. So, I mean, as this race goes on, you're going to see these tires start to eat up a lot more. They're going to get worn out because the more rubber gets laid down on the track, the more these guys put that hot rubber on the track, it's going to get hotter. No doubt about it. We saw on Thursday because of, the, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The moon, and everything like that. The nighttime, it cools the track down. Now that we're in the daytime, it's going to get extremely hot. We've already seen drivers out of the corners. You saw Caden Anderson just a handful of laps ago when Cody was giving his, words of wisdom. He almost lost it in the center of 1 and 2. And you don't really see Caden Anderson make mistakes like that. But as this race goes on, no doubt about it, you're going to see guys get looser and looser as the runs go on.
Ottenbacher, Raz battling for 7th and 8th spot now. Closing in on lap number 70. Believe it or not, 5 laps away from 100 remaining in this penultimate race of the regular season. And the round of 8 playoffs. Down with the wall. Saves it.
Oh, we have other
Ottenbacher's
cars
in
on the
trouble.
wall. Reitzman and Onbacher. Oh, that's heavy damage. 89 has heavy right
We got to
front
figure out what's going on here. Watch that small screen. Here's your replay.
Oh, man.
Oh,
He
wow.
knocks it up and kicked it off the wall. Good job by him.
Caution's out, guys.
Yeah, caution's out. You got to think that right front had to have come off because he was heading into turn 3 and that thing. Oh, and Sean just gets loose and gets into him hard hit. Oh man.
Oh, man. Sean Brightsman into Ottenbacher, and that is what caused the caution.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, we're still looking at the replay.
And I'm understanding he's not.
He slams the wall here in the center, I think. Yeah, right? Oh.
Look at this. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the right front, yeah. Right front locked up. It's caved in.
Pit stop's
That's a big
ongoing. Here
break
comes
for
the
Jeff Stabnow,
cavalry in.
This is going to be a big break for Jeff Stabnow, though, just because he hit the wall off that corner. I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Oh.
Sean Price, Ottenbacher's still wrecking on pit road, man. It just goes to show you that right front locks up. It's hard. He's still trying to get turned around. Hopefully John can do so. Oh, my goodness. Don't hit the fake
Ottenbacher
picture numbers.
Look out. Yeah, that's driving
Oh, he's still
inappropriately on
wrecking.
pit road. There might be another penalty.
Is it possible to have a double caution?
You can rest assured he's going to be taking a fast. Oh, when he overshot his pair, he's going to take a fast repair.
There it goes. Man, just like that, he's got the backup.
Kevin Smith will come out as the leader, and we will step away. We're back in a moment. iRacing on LSRTV, the playoffs, the Northwest from Phoenix.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Pace car getting ready to drop onto the pit lane. We are ready for the restart here at the Phoenix Raceway after the second caution flag of the race. We're also probably about less than 10 laps away from halfway. as the field gets ready to go back to the Geico restart zone. And they're actually taking it all the way to the restart zone. I wonder if there was some rule implemented after what we saw on Thursday for the Northwest Series there as green flags back out, Jason.
Yeah, Evan Smith, great restart for him. But Lake Peterson is right there on his outside here as they head into one. Anderson, though, going to sail it up into the corner. They're 3 wide for the race lead. Evan Smith in the middle, falling back. I wonder if he has some damage on that right front, because it sure enough looks like he has some damage. Very slow in the corners. But Lake Peterson out front. Caden Anderson right back behind him now as they come to the line.
Climbs the hill, clowns to the left of me. Jokers to the right a moment ago for Anderson. And somehow, Caden Anderson will go to the lead. Not there, though. Here comes Peterson battling back.
Peterson with a great run, though, off the corner. Caden Anderson, though, fighting hard back on the bottom as they head into 3. Anderson's got to be real careful. He's been known for using up that racetrack, and here they come off turn 4. Lake Peterson that time by the line, I believe, got him. But Caden Anderson, Lake Peterson sideways. What a save by Peterson. I believe there might have been a car. Yeah, Ottenbacher, I believe, was on the bottom, and Lake Peterson had to have a quick reaction. Going to try to maybe get a replay here in just a second, but oh my goodness, that could have ended Caden Anderson's day if the 9 would have just went to the inside of the racetrack. But oh my gosh, what a save by Lake Peterson.
The heck with Anderson. What about Peterson? That would have ended his day. He's one of the playoff drivers, but you think about it, he really ain't got nothing to lose because he knows he's going to Homestead next week. What a save. We're now west to the inside of Barnes. Yeah, it is. And West and Barnes now battle second and third. Remember those drivers we mentioned trying to get in by virtual points if a non-points playoff driver wins.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, if Brian Barnes right now finishes where he does, and Caden Anderson, you know, he finishes where he does, I believe Caden Anderson is going to knock out Brian Barnes, you know, I mean, because right now Cole Raz coming into this race was plus 11. Briar Reynolds held the last spot. Brian Barnes was minus 4, you know, and Briar Reynolds right now, he was solid on the racetrack. Cole Raz is solid, but Brian Barnes is doing a great job. But since Caden Anderson's out front, that more than likely might knock him out. But we're going to have to see as this race goes on, and after the checkered flag, who's in, who's out.
All that'll be tallied up here very, very soon. Who wants to go into a championship race at the Homestead next week? That's where the finale will be. Hands down right now, it is all Caden Anderson here as we are working towards halfway. This time by 83 laps on the board. Next lap around, cross flags will be in the air as Dan West Jr. trying to battle Caden Anderson for the lead into turn number 1. Bonsais it in there below the yellow line.
Oh, contact!
Runs him up the track. Shades of what Anderson kind of did to Peterson. And Dan West Jr. not backing down either as they work their way back to the start-finish line. And the cross flags go in the air. And that will allow us to join you back inside the broadcast booth, as it is always time for the LSRTV mid-race report. I am Wesley Outland. Jason Rockefeller down below is, of course, Terry Radford not joining us tonight, taking the night off, getting ready for Florence, and he'll be joining me down there. But your take of this race so far, Jason, obviously it's had its share of a little bit of everything. Now you know you're in the second half of this race. I think the aggressive limit's really going to be pushed to the rev limiter right now to decide who's going to win these races. And could we see Caden Anderson sweep? Could we see him sweep?
I said it at the beginning of the show. I mean, Caden came out here. As you see Dan West Jr., he's looking to the inside of him again. They're actually almost going to make contact. Caden hangs on to it. Dan saves it. But back to what I was saying. Caden was so fast on Thursday night. He wasn't the driver who was the one to beat until the very end. Here we are, halfway, more than halfway, and Caden is leading this race. I said at the beginning of the broadcast, Caden Anderson was my pick to win. He was the one you had to watch out for. Came into this race minus 13 points out. If he wins this race, not necessarily a walk-off win, but I mean, it's good enough to be considered as a walk-off in a sense. And here he is beating the likes of Dan West Jr., Blake Peterson, and other drivers. I mean, this race has had a little bit of everything. You had some good racing. You had a little bit of issues between some drivers. You had John Ottenbacher's moving, Sean Brightsman's, everybody else. A lot of guys getting loose. The key word tonight, loose. Hang on to those cars. You're going to see a lot of drivers. Now as this track has some rubber on it, it's hot. It's going to get hotter for the remainder of this race. Guys are going to keep getting looser and looser as the day goes on. And here we are, more than halfway. Caden Anderson leading. But right now, it's been a really good race. I've enjoyed it so far. Caden Anderson, though, is still the one to beat, in my opinion.
Yeah, Caden Anderson, by the way, coming into this race as the number 6 seed. So again, if everything goes well and he plays his cards right, even though he won the truck race as a non-playoff contender, he is a playoff contender tonight in the Cup Series. And if he wins, you can put himself into that championship 4 race, joining drivers like obviously Cole Raz and Lake Peterson, and we call them super friends, and they all know each other very, very well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Caden actually almost just lost it right there out of turn 2, and that's going to open up the door for Dan. But so far, these two by far have had the best battle on the racetrack all night. But it hasn't been a hard battle. It's been a really good, clean, hard battle. Dan West Jr. is still right there, and I'm surprised because they've been battling, but the last few laps they haven't been side by side. Look at everybody else behind them. There's still 4 cars behind them. Everybody's still kind of right there to pounce if these two make a mistake. And that can happen with the way this track is, with how multi-groove it is. You're going to see guys. You always say it, Wesley, on every broadcast we do, the bonsai move into the corners.
Oh, yeah.
You could see Dan West Jr. do that, and he could slip up, and they could both go out, and then Lake Peterson could go on to win this race or somebody else. But so far, some good clean racing up at the front.
And the question is, who will go for that bonsai move? Who will make that desperation attempt to put themselves not only in the victory lane, but obviously to go to the playoffs? Because you've got drivers out of 8, 3 out of 8 right now are in. There's one spot left up for grabs, whether it be for a driver like Anderson or somebody else to do it. Don't count out Stabnow. Stabnow looked really strong earlier in the race. And I got a feeling also in closing for the mid-race report, Jason, I don't think we're done seeing caution flags either. 2 in the first half.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely think we're going to see cautions. We said it on Thursday, cautions breed cautions. So far tonight, that hasn't really been the case, but as the day progresses on, right now, we got a cloud cover over the track. This is going to provide a little bit of grip. The sun's probably going to come back out here in just a few short moments, but, as the race goes on, a lot of guys, trouble spot has been going into turn 1 and out of the dogleg, surprisingly, because of the ride heights with these cars and because of the rack and, the rack and pinion steering and everything else about this car. It's still too new. Everybody still doesn't really know all that much about it. From real life, you don't know that much about it, but the more you spend on the sim, you know a lot about it. But here today, you just keep seeing drivers consistently making mistakes going into turn 1. Just getting so loose, and then especially out of the dogleg, I can't believe it, But so far, I mean, you've seen a lot of guys just keep getting loose out of turns 1 and 2. Don't be shocked if you do see a late race restart in this race, though.
Who let the dogs out? The dog's making noise. Better go put it outside to go potty. That has been your LSRTV mid-race report here at Phoenix. We go back to on-track action. And we're not done yet, as Caden Anderson now about to get a back trunk full of the front end of the 55 of Dan West Jr. He is running him down, reeling him in all over the place as they go back out of the dog leg into turn 1. And I think Anderson knows it, Jason.
Oh, yeah, Caden Anderson for sure is probably mirror driving more than likely because Dan West is right there on the back bumper of that number 37 machine as they're about to barrel it down into 3. You see West closes in a lot faster than Anderson. Anderson, though, able to put back the power down just a little bit better, but that time by, Dan West Jr. was able to get it. He'll go up to the outside here, off the straightaway, and down into turn 1 now. He'll roll the corner just a little bit better. But West still right there, knocking on the door of Caden Anderson back behind him. This is the battle for the lead off 2.
Yeah, this is all going on as they work their way into that turn here, working out of 3 and 4, coming back to the Geico restart zone. And actually, it's really short because the start-finish line is actually entering turn 4. The Geico restart zone is right there between 3 and 4. Such a feature, just a interesting track here, no doubt, with the configuration, how things are. Lap traffic up in the way. Toby Ritter's Talladega truck winner. Out of the way, down to the inside. Kevin Smith on pit road. Trying to get the undercut on everybody. Jason, what are you thinking? Lap 100 coming up.
Nah, I personally don't believe so. I think he's just got a lot of right front damage. We saw in that last restart how much he was struggling with that car. I wouldn't be surprised here if he does have a fast repair, if he does take it. We'll have to see here as he's about to head into his box, I believe. If not, I believe he is. Yes, he will. He's heading into his box now. Thought it was earlier. We're going to see here in just a second. And it looks like, yep, he will take that fast repair. So that is Kevin's fast repair. He needs a good night here. Came in 57 points out. He needs a win. But coming into the pits here, this is not going to help his chances here to go into the Final 4. He's going to need a caution. He's going to have to run hard here for the rest of the race.
And I got to be thinking here, could we possibly see green flag pit stops for the first time tonight in this race also?
You probably could. I mean, the last time these guys pitted was on lap 72, you know, and we're on lap 101 right now. So, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it really all just depends on how the fuel is. You know, the tires can only run for so long, but, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, this car is still so new that, you know, you don't really know when you're exactly going to pit, especially with how, you know, hard you run the cars. You know, everybody's kind of just keep on, you know, putting down consistent lap times, 28.9s, 28.8s, you know, low 29s. But so far, you know, everybody's been doing a great job. But back to your point, Wesley, I do believe, though, if this race obviously does, you know, go green, you're absolutely no doubt about it going to see green flag stops. We saw on Thursday, though, some drivers tried to play it to where, you know, they thought the race was going to go green. They tried to undercut. They tried the overcut. That very well could happen here tonight, depending on the race outcome. But only time will tell here as we're about, just a handful of laps away from seeing that checkered flag.
We just passed 100 laps. And, well, is that Kevin Smith back on? I wonder if he got a penalty.
Yep.
Did Kevin Smith get a penalty there, Jason?
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, he's trying to make up so much time, you know, getting back on the racetrack. I mean, you're already a few laps down. I mean, I wouldn't even bother to pit. I would probably just, take the penalty and go. I mean, you're already, a lap or two down now. There's no point in pitting. So, but more than likely, absolutely, what our producer said, and what you said. But, he's actually, he's going to have to serve the penalty here. But, yeah, definitely a penalty. Going to take some tires here, take advantage of it. Kind of a little bit shocked on that one. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe this could play into his, maybe this could benefit him. But, only time will tell. That's key. Time will tell.
I don't think it's working right now, my friend. He just fell 4, maybe 5 laps down in this 2 pit sequences here. As there you see now, Stephen Paulison, Brett Johnson, nice solid top 10 run for these drivers here tonight at Phoenix so far. Well, we're working lap 105 of 175. Let's Jason and myself give you the full field rundown as it stands right now, as they put triple digits on the board. Caden Anderson is the leader. Dan West Jr. is in second. Lake Peterson is third. They're under a half of a second, or at least a quarter of a second back to the leaders. Then it's going to be Chris White 2 seconds back in fourth. 2 1/4 back is Brian Barnes in fifth. 5 1/4 back is Cole Raz in sixth. Almost 6 seconds back in seventh. Jeff Stabnow. Brian Reynolds about 7 seconds back is in eighth. Ninth is going to be James Vining in the 697. Of course, or the 333, almost 7 seconds back at the top 10. We'll find almost 8 seconds back to the leader, Brett Johnson, as we again continue to see this battle between Anderson, West, Peterson heating up for the lead. These three cars might be in the championship 4. And all the while, there's your top 10. Jason, you got the rest of the rundown.
Yeah, you got Stephen Paulson there in 10th. Now is James Vining is actually coming into the pits. So you're going to have Stephen Paulson in 10th, Ryan Bloom 11th, Frank Harris in 12th, James Vining, who's currently on pit road 13th, Toby Ritters 14th, a lap down, John Ottenbacher 2 laps down in 15th, Sean Breitzman 2 laps down in 16th, Kevin Smith 4 laps down in 17th, Gary Nichols 8 laps down in 18th, then Chad Malik 70 laps down in 19th, Chris Kamir and Troy Daggett 92 and 101 laps down. They find themselves 20th and 21st on the board, and that's your race rundown here at Phoenix.
Lake Peterson on the inside, battling now with Dan West Jr. And all the while this happens, it allows Anderson to pull away. Chris White, Brian Barnes going at it for 4th and 5th. This is behind those cars. Right there.
Yeah, Lake was able to get past Dan right there pretty easily. Dan's tires are probably more than likely shot out. But, you know, this is where we've seen Lake really prevail. You know, in these long runs, he's been very, very fast. You know, about 0.6 of a second back from Caden Anderson. And Dan's still right behind him. You know, but, you know, just want to point something out real quick as we head back through the field there. You saw the 4 of Brian Barnes. Right behind him, that's Kevin Smith. You folks can just see at home watching how much that fresh tires play a factor here as they head down in the corner. You'll see heading into the corner, 1-2 car length gap between Kevin Smith and Brian Barnes. And off the corner, that gap just grows. The 00 went in there, about 2 car length gap, came out there with about 7 car length gaps. So you can see how much tires mean something here at Phoenix. Question though is if this race goes green to the end, who's going to want to take 2 tires, who's going to want to take 4, and who's going to want to try to stretch it, possibly take no tires and just fuel. But Lake Peterson, we've seen it before. He's really good at managing those tires though. He's under attack from Dan West Jr. And Lake Peterson closed the gap on Caden Anderson here, coming to lap 114.
It looked like for a second there, Peterson might have tagged the wall with the right rear, but keeps that forward momentum and speed going. As we work now lap number 112, 113 laps now actually completed. Well, coming up on over 60 laps remaining here for this race. Is another shot off the wall. Dan West Jr. gave us a scare. And that's almost similar to what happened to Lake Peterson a moment ago there, Jason, coming off 3 and 4.
Yeah, noticing it looks like, from what I'm seeing right now on my screen, it looks like the 9 does have a little bit of right side scrapage, if you want to call it that. But yeah, the 55 bounced off the wall, it looked like there. But, you know, as this run's progressing, like I said, Lake Peterson closing a little bit. He's gained about almost 0.2, but he's just very, very loose there off turn number 2. Caden, though, is doing a great job putting the power down off the corners. But, you know, only time will tell. Lake Peterson's been so fast, but right now we're jumping back. Battle for 6th between Cole Raz and Jeff Stabnow. As Stabnow looks to the inside of him as they hit the start-finish line.
This is the best battle on the racetrack as Stabnow on the inside, coming after Raz. Raz on the outside. Ottenbacher back up in that game. However, he is 2 laps down. First car lap down, Toby Ritters, if a caution was to come out, he would get the free pass. And 60 laps to go for the penultimate race of the regular season and the round of 8 finale to determine the championship Final Four here at Phoenix.
Yeah, Caden right now, though, he's just doing a great job, keeping his car on the racetrack, keeping it straight. And I'm kind of surprised he's actually hung on this long for the race lead over Lake. And actually, his gap has actually grown a little bit now. It was at 1.6 tenths, then it was about 5, almost 4 tenths. Now it's back to about 7 tenths. So Caden Anderson looks to be about the fastest car on the racetrack right now. That last time by, he was almost about a tenth faster than Lake. So Caden Anderson might just be the one here to beat if this race does go green to the end. It's just going to be about, though, is who plays which strategy.
Back to 3. Hugging the bottom of the racetrack. They work their way up from 3 to 4. Back to start finish. And let's rest our voice and feel the roar. Playoffs at Phoenix, and they're at full song on lap 118. Caution is out. We got trouble. Nichols and Reynolds. Playoff contender Brian Reynolds involved. Nichols is involved in the 8 car. Coming out of turn 4. And the caution out again.
That is not at all what Brian Reynolds needed to see. The guy who held in the last spot coming in here. And here he is. In trouble. Yeah, we're gonna take a look and see. Oh, just some incident in front of him. And he just locks it up. No damage. No damage for the 12, though, so that is a big plus. But now that the tires are worn out, he really isn't going to take that big of a hit. But as for Gary Nichols, though, a little bit of damage.
With Nichols here. We'll see what happened to him. He's the cause of the caution as we over 50 laps to go.
What happened?
There's the 8 car. There's Anderson. The leaders are approaching. Oh, he just shot the gap and went. Oh, Dan West Jr.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Wow. That, I've never in my life.
It's heartbreaking for Dan West Jr. However, I will say this. Dan West Jr., by the way, won the Talladega race. Or excuse me, my apologies. He won on October 17th at Las Vegas. So, hindsight 2020, he'll be in the playoff finale at Homestead.
He's very thankful for that win for sure, because that more than likely is going to take him out of contention. But he's probably still got that faster pair, obviously. So Dan, I wouldn't take Dan completely out right now, but that for sure is going to hurt his momentum now that he's not in that top 3. We're currently running on the track. It looks like he's in 6th. So we're going to see what happens here as the race plays out. So these guys did just pit, so everybody is on fresh tires. So we're going to have to see, though, if Dan West Jr. is going to be able to drive back through the field. And it's not really through the field, but currently 6th. But Blake Peterson was able to beat out Caden Anderson, actually.
That's right. Dan West Jr. won at Vegas, the opening round of the round of 8. So you know he's going to the Final Four. Blake Peterson is going to the Final Four. Stephen O'Hare won the race at Talladega. And Blake Peterson won Dover. So Yeah, I'm thinking Cole Raz, by virtue of points, is going to the Final Four also. Oh, you are. Stupid. I swear I was. Oh, this guy!
He thinks it's funny.
If people heard what he says, man, seriously. Like, wow.
Coming to the restart, though.
Back underway. Let's try this again. Feel the roar at Phoenix on a restart. Well, you saw it, feel the roar. Dan West Jr. and the bad luck continues for the 55. But Jason, no caution though.
Yeah, it was all the way to the inside of the racetrack like we've seen most of these incidents here tonight. You know, the way iRacing works is if it's below the racing surface, usually a caution will not come out unless, you know, another driver is involved. They do come back up onto the racing surface. But as for Dan West Jr., he spun to the inside, kept it there, but right now he's in the pits. His day more than likely over, so you can cross off Dan West here for probably being a race winner, but he's, you know, he's thanking God right now that he made it to the Final Four, because that was a big break for him that he was able to get that win a handful of weeks ago. But right now, up at the front, Caden Anderson, he was able to take the lead away from Lake Peterson, and Brian Barnes is running there in the third spot with Chris White right behind him, and Jeff Stabnow all the way back up to the front. But here comes the 9 of Lake Peterson to the inside as they head into one, battle for the lead.
And remember, Lake Peterson, one of those drivers that joins Dan West Jr. in the Championship 4. He just wants to win another race. And why would he not want to? He's the ace in the hole. 12 wins this year, 16 top 5s, 21 top 10s. The dominator of the Northwest of 22 has been
the 47 around. Will we see? There he is. Yellow's out. Oh, look out. Oh, my goodness. Just like I said before, wreck on that surface, caution's going to come out, and that wreck was on the surface, but looks to be no damage in the 47 car.
Here's a look at your replay. Chris White, last year's champion. They make contact, driving side left on Stabnow, and around goes the 47. And look at Ritters.
Oh, my goodness.
Threading the needle and getting through there. Yellow is out.
I will say right now, if this series had a Reese's sweet move of the race like the Arca Menard series does, I would have just given it to Toby Ritters right there. No voting. That was crazy. The fact that the 47 was coming down the racetrack and he missed them, but not only did he miss them, he went right in between the commitment cone and the 47. So shout out to Toby Ritters. That was one heck of a reaction time for him. So great job.
132 of 175 laps. Do you pit? That's the question. Is everybody going to pit right now? Could it be the money stop also, Jason, if people take advantage of it? By the way, wave around, free pass going back to Toby Ritters. He is on the lead lap at 23. How was that so close not to get caught by White, to miss that incident, to put himself back on the lead lap with the other cars?
Yeah, that was really good. And you know, if you're Toby Ritters, you know, you last pitted on lap 117. You know, Chris White just pitted now. He's going to be in 10th since he was there. So Chris White is actually going to be at a little bit of advantage, have a little bit fresher tires. But Toby Ritters, shout out to him for getting, you know, that free pass, because here he is. He's going to be able to pit. If I were Toby, I would definitely be pitting right now. You got the free pass. Come in and pit, take tires. That way, you're going to be able to pick off positions and get yourself a good, solid finish. But as for the other drivers who are up at the front, no, I don't see them pitting. We're only 13 laps since we went green, you know, plus the caution laps, you know, and all the pace laps beforehand when we went back green. There's no reason to pit, you know. But if these guys do get another green flag run, and maybe they get a late caution right before lap 175, I'd say you could maybe see some guys pitting. You might see some two-tire stops, but you might even see guys staying out. But we've seen tonight, I showed it earlier, you know, we were talking about it earlier, Kevin Smith on the fresh tires, multiple laps down. Tires mean a lot here tonight, so you better make the right call if there's a late race yellow.
I don't think we're done just yet. Fireworks continue. By the way, Caden Anderson, driver of that Harvest Chevrolet 37 silver Chevrolet Camaro, winner Thursday night in the truck race here at Phoenix, trying to sweep the weekend. However, here's the upside to that. He is one of the 8 drivers besides Dan West Jr. and Lake Peterson that are in the championship 4 finale at Homestead next week. Caden Anderson, Brian Barnes, Jeff Stabnow, Cole Raz, Brian Reynolds. The top 10 is littered with 6 drivers that are trying to fight to make the playoff Final 4 as we get ready to come back to green, Jason.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. Lake Peterson, you said it before, he wants another win. He's not going to give this up. He don't care. You don't care if Caden Anderson's racing for his playoffs right here. He's going to have to race him hard if he wants to try to keep him out of the playoffs here. But we're about to go green. It's going to get fun and exciting.
Going to be an exciting 40 laps to go. Green flag back in the air here in Phoenix. And Anderson, great restart all the way to the Geico restart zone. I got to wonder if there was a rule that was implemented to the Northwest after the shenanigans that happened in the truck race. Or maybe their rules are different than the truck series. I don't know.
Yeah, we're being told right now, according to Cody, that there was no rule implemented, but I guarantee you they probably did say something to Caden after that race on Thursday night, said, hey, man, listen, you know, good job out there driving, you know, heck of a win for you. But listen, hey, man, you know, to keep it a little bit more, you know, consistent, let's try to go maybe in the restart zone or at least closer to it. And he did fire off that restart, you know, right in the restart zone.
And how bad do you want it? Look at this. There are 6 cars, 7 cars now, 6 cars actually, all playoff contenders fighting to get around Peterson. Any of these drivers could go to the Final 4 if they could win, Jason.
Yeah, the 9, he's really using up the racetrack as much as he can. Caden, though, puts the power down off the corner. Man, what a clear right there off the corner. He slid right in front of the 9's bumper. Lake Peterson, though, he's going to be right there knocking on doors saying, no, sir. He wants that race lead back. And if they get together, Brian Barnes right back behind them, and Jeff Stabnow, who's been so quick on the short runs. But the question is, does Jeff have what it takes, or has what it takes to get back up to the front? But here comes the 4 of Brian Barnes. He's looking to the inside of Lake Peterson now, off turn 2 down the back straightaway into 3.
Who wants it more? Anderson right now showing his strength in the 37. Here comes Peterson back down to the bottom. Barnes is behind him in the 4 Popsicle Chevrolet or Toyota. Don't even be thinking about popsicles and ice cream as cold as it is outside. And
Oh, we got a wreck in the back. We got a wreck. One car on the wall.
Ryan Bloom. Ryan Bloom slamming the wall. We still stand on the green flag. Oh, Mike Peterson, Anderson.
You got to think something's got to give between these two guys. They've been fighting so hard here the last half of the race. The 9 wants another win, but the 37, he sees an opportunity to go to Homestead next week. He's powering it back down the outside. He'll clear the 9 off the corner, diving into the dog leg, but the 9 still right there back behind him as they head into turn 1. Blake Peterson trying to look for the race lead here into the 1.
Anderson the leader. Peterson will follow. Barnes is right there. Stab now inside. They stay single file. We're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification and take you to the finish when we return from Phoenix to go to Homestead. The final 4, the final chapter of these laps will be determined next.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of under 30 laps to go. So here's the deal. That number 9, Blake Peterson, he's in the championship finale. So is Dan West Jr. The good, the bad for the 55. He is still the first car 1 lap down. And with under 30 laps to go, Jason Rockefeller, you still have Caden Anderson, Brian Barnes, Briar Reynolds, Cole Raz, and Jeff Stabnow, all drivers to try to pull off a Hail Mary to make the Final 4.
Yeah, the 9 and the 4 right now, they're still hunting down the 37 of Anderson. You know, these guys have checked out from Briar Reynolds. They're about a second and almost a quarter up on Reynolds as they head down to turn number 1, but the 37 of Anderson has been doing a great job holding off the 9, and surprise, surprise, I cannot believe that Brian Barnes has been able to, you know, just sit right there and still hang on with these drivers is right now to the inside. Here comes Blake Peterson trying to go for another pass for the race lead here on Anderson off turn number 4.
25 laps to go next time by, and it is picking up. And by the way, don't count out Brian Barnes. I mentioned how consistent he has been. And right now, he is sitting in that number 3 spot, and they are now pulling away from Reynolds and the other playoff contenders and drivers in the back as they come to the line with 25 to go.
Yeah, Lake's just still trying to get around Caden right now. Just somehow, some way, can't do it. We've seen the 9 been so good on these long runs, so if there's a time where he's going to be able to pounce on Anderson, I believe it's going to be on the long runs. But we talked about it earlier, Wesley. Cautions breed cautions. It's very possible that here these guys could get a late race yellow. But if I were Lake Peterson, I wouldn't be hoping for that because he's right there to pounce on Caden Anderson if anything happens like that.
And while all that was happening, just a moment ago to the back straightaway, Jeff Stabnow just got passed by Raz and Reynolds because it looked like he was kind of slipping or something happening to the 24 car. And by the way, Dan West Jr., first car, 1 lap down. Caution comes out, he'll get the free pass. He is right there behind those drivers in the top 6 positions. Wow, what happened to Peterson? Oh, my.
Yeah, Peterson looked like he just got really loose right there. Surprised he's still hanging on, though. But Brian Barnes is right there to attack on him. Here he comes, trying to look to the inside for the position here. Coming into turn 3, and Caden Anderson wants exactly that as they work their way off board. Coming to lap 154 now on the board. Caden Anderson's trying to check out from those 2 guys, hoping that they get side by side behind them as they head into 1.
Working off of turn number 2, the back straightaway. And they're going to be coming to the line, and 21 to go this time by. It is coming to the home stretch here tonight in Phoenix. Lock in your 4. You know 2 are in. The rest of the half will be settled. Number 6 seed, Caden Anderson, is in the lead. A win puts him into the championship 4. And he will sweep Phoenix if he can do it. They'll come to the line this time by. And Jason, we have got 20 laps to go.
Yeah, 20 laps to go, and it's going to be here before you know it. Almost in the wall is Peterson off the corner, but he's to the outside. He's been trying to get to the inside of Anderson here these last few laps as he gets loose into turn number 1. But that was a great opportunity for Peterson to try to make something happen on the outside. He's been trying on the bottom of Anderson here for the last few laps, but hasn't been able to do it. And Brian Barnes is still right there on these guys' back bumper if anything was to happen. But Caden Anderson right now doing a great job. This could possibly be the move of the race here if he's just able to hang on to these guys, hang on to this race lead, and Anderson could come home and go to Homestead next week for a chance at a championship.
Man, I'm wondering here if Lake Peterson, Jason, is toying with the 37 of Anderson. And here's something to think about as he does. Well, I thought he was going to make a move to the inside. He couldn't get him there. Single file back to the Geico restart zone to the line and 18 to go. If these 3 drivers continue to have a little munch and crunch battle themselves, this is going to allow these other drivers behind them of Barnes or of Reynolds, Raz, Stabnow, White to reel them in.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, Briar Reynolds, we saw him earlier. He was spun out, and I said it. You know, the damage, he didn't have any. You know, and here he is right now running fourth. If these guys keep getting side by side, that little pack is going to run these guys down depending on how their tire wear is. You see it right here on the screen. The 9 of Peterson, he keeps looking to the inside lane. He's hanging in there. He just can't get it off the corner. He's going to need Anderson to possibly slip up. But, you know, back to your point, what you were asking me before, do I think Peterson is toying with Anderson? Possibly, but at the same time, I think he knows how fast Barnes is. You know, Is he going to be able to reel him in? That's the question. It's one thing, we always say in racing, it's one thing to get to a guy. It's another to pass him.
You're exactly right. And if you remembered, Peterson got high, and when he got way high, he started to see Barnes reel him in, and he knew, well, look at him fighting that car off the corner. Caution's out. Yellow flag flies. Yellow is out. It's Chris White, last year's champion, again with a problem. Stephen Paulison, bottom of the racetrack. And with 15 laps to go, business has picked up at Phoenix.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the race replay right here. See the 47 involved in another incident tonight. Now this brings the question of pit stops. Who's going to pit, who's not? But as we look at the race replay, just like I talked about, Wesley, just what I said earlier, guys kept getting loose into one, and oh man, what a hit. In the right rear quarter panel, the bumper, whatever you want to call it, on the 47. That's very unfortunate for him. But again, just guys getting loose, going into the corner, running on that apron right on the yellow line. So, very interesting to see, but we do have some drivers coming to pit here. Brian Barnes, I believe, is in pit road right now.
Brian Barnes has come down to the pit lane. He joins Chris White and Stephen Paulison. Oh, and by the way, Dan West Jr. Remember the problems the 55 had? Remember how strong his car was? You saw him passing the pace car on the top right. He is now back in the catbird seat on the lead lap by virtue of the free pass. So Anderson did not pit. He elected not to pit. Neither did Peterson. Reynolds does not. Neither does Raz, and neither does Stab now. Ritters has come to the pit lane, along with Brian Barnes, Chris White, who brought out the caution, Stephen Paulison. Dan West Jr. gets back on the lead lap. This will put 12 cars on the lead lap with probably the green flag coming out with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting restart here. We're more than likely going to have just a little over 10 laps to go, about 11, 10 laps probably when we go green. Shout out to Brian Barnes. I cannot believe that everybody up front did not pit. Right now, there is only 12 drivers on the lead lap. And because of everybody having to pit, take wave rounds and whatnot, Brian Barnes was third on the racetrack. He's going to be eighth when this restart happens. Brian Barnes is going to drive like a bat out of hell here coming on this restart. He is going to be so fast. It's going to be unbelievable. These guys have 40-lap old tires. Brian Barnes has fresh ones. That's basically an entire C-fixed length of tires right there. You take a Truck Series C-fixed race on iRacing, it's about 40 laps generally on a 1.5-mile oval. And here you are about to go green, and he's got 40-lap pressure tires. So look out for Brian Barnes, because he's going to be a man on a mission here to try and make it in to the next round to Homestead and punch his ticket in. So Brian Barnes, look out for him here on the restart.
The scenario is damned if you do and damned if you don't, because if Anderson would have pitted, you could rest assured everybody else would have probably followed him down. But when Anderson didn't pit, then the decisions came with guys like Peterson. Peterson wants to win the race. Bottom line, he knows he's racing for a championship next for Monday night at Homestead. He knows this. But if you're guys like Raz, Reynolds, Stabnow, Barnes, you're going to do any and everything you can to get to the front. And you've got to win. That's the question. And at what price will you do it? As Anderson is ready, Peterson on the outside, 11 laps to go here at Phoenix, the round of 8 finale to the final 4. Green flag back in the air. And here we go. Bonsai through the dog leg. Anderson. Boy, oh boy, I hope they save their tires. Here comes Barnes, already up to 6th.
Oh, man, Barnes is going to be coming like I said he was. And here he is, 3 wide up the middle. He's going to get that spot all the way up to 5th. Man, with 10 laps to go, Wesley, I just don't know if these guys are going to be able to hold off Brian Barnes. Here he is up on the outside. And not only is he up on the outside, he is making it work. He is all the way up to 4th, almost 3rd, almost gets into the back of Brian Reynolds there. He's to the outside. But the thing is if Brian Barnes can maintain his car, get past all these guys. Here he is to the outside of Cole Raz for the 3rd spot. I think Brian Barnes is going to be able to get up there, and I think Brian Barnes is going to challenge these guys for the win here, coming to 9 laps to go.
10, now make it 9 laps to go. Brian Barnes has now powered his way to the number 3 spot. He drops below the dog leg as the sun begins to set in the virtual Valley of the Sun on Rattlesnake Hill. 8 remaining when they come to the line. And Brian Barnes is there. Flies by Peterson. He's going after Anderson. He's trying to win. He's trying to go to the Final 4 at Homestead. And it would be his first career Northwest Series win if he does it.
Barnes all the way to the inside. Little bit of contact there. Oh, my goodness. And the 9 almost up in the wall there. Here comes Anderson. Not going to be enough. I think the 4 just has way too much grip right now. Here he comes off 2. You can see the gap he's pulling. Bye-bye. See you later. Good night, Gracie, as Kyle Busch once said, because Brian Barnes has taken the race lead. He's looking to try to go and punch his ticket to the round of 4 at Homestead.
We mentioned the walk-off. We mentioned an opportunity like this arising. And here's something else. He's been so consistent all year long, Jason. And now he is looking to go to the championship 4 at Homestead. And he will get his first career Northwest win if he can hold on. 6 laps to go as Peterson and Anderson battle. Brightsman, other cars in the pack. And look at the interval. Brian Barnes, 2-second lead, 6 to go at Phoenix.
I tell you what, if I were Brian Barnes right now, you don't want to caution. The way these guys are racing, though, it might just happen. Because if a yellow does come out, everybody's going to go to the pits. If I were Brian Barnes, you might pit, but everybody might stay out. Then if you do pit, but only time will tell if we do get a yellow. But if I were these guys, if a yellow does come out, hit, take the advantage. Brian Barnes already came in. What does he have to lose? He may stay out. He might come in. You don't know. Only time will tell, though, but Brian Barnes doing a great job, and he's looking to punch his ticket in to the round of 4. But Caden Anderson and Lake Peterson, though, that's the battle for second here is off 2.
5 laps to go. Now make it 4 remaining for Brian Barnes. Anderson, there you see his car jumping up the hill, losing grip. Lap cars all passing these other lead cars. And the interval is now 5 seconds for Brian Barnes. The Popsicle Toyota on a crisp, cool November night here in the virtual Phoenix Raceway is looking to punch his opportunity to race for a championship. And right now, he is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's in the lead. The battle for second at the line, 3 to go.
Yeah, if I were Caden Anderson right now, I would just be trying to fight off Lake Peterson and Cole Raz as much as possible, because we don't really know right now if he's good or not to make it in. Yes, he's running high up in the points, but we don't know. You know, now that Brian Barnes looks... Oh, there we go. There's a 12. Oh, my gosh.
Caution is out. We go to overtime. Toby Ritters got into the back of Brian Reynolds' car. And the caution is out. One of the playoff drivers that were looking to also try to go to the championship 4, Brian Reynolds, contact with Toby Ritters. Ritters got into him, no doubt about it. Working off the corner, he got to the left rear. Just a racing deal, and around goes the 12, and we are going to overtime here at Phoenix. Brian Barnes, oh, so close, but it's not over yet, though, Jason Rockefeller.
Well, I don't know whether to call it a commentator's curse or what, but I called it. I said that if these guys got a caution, that was not what Brian Barnes was looking for. But if you're Caden Anderson and Blake Peterson, you're jumping for joy right now. Now the question is do you pit? If I'm them, absolutely. No doubt about it. What do you got to lose? You got a guy up in front of you who's on 40-lap fresher tires than you. You have nothing to lose. Why not come into the pits, take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, and see what you can do with them? The 4 is still going to be on fresh ones, but you know you've been faster than him, so we're going to see here if anybody comes down into the pits. I don't believe pit road was open that time by, but man, oh man, this is going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see who plays which strategy. The question, not the question, but the answer, no doubt, is yes. If I'm them, pit. If I'm the 4, you're a sitting duck pretty much. So we're going to see what happens here.
Where you're at, man. You want to win this race. You want to win this race. Brian Barnes wants to win this race. He wants to go to the Championship 4 finale, no doubt. But he wants to win in the Northwest Racing Series. Ask Toby Ritters what it means to win to the Northwest. He was almost in tears when he won the truck race at Talladega. I don't see anybody committing to come to the pits yet, though. I don't see it happening. If you're going to commit, you better drop down now. They're not.
Man.
Wow. They're not pitting.
Yeah, I mean, unless pit road wasn't open that time by, but I can't see it not being open. It had to have been open that time by. No doubt about it. I mean, we'll see. I think for sure we'll get one more look to see if the pit road is open once they come around again. But if nobody pits, wow. I want to say that I think Brian Barnes has this locked up if nobody comes into the pits.
Well, yeah, they had the opportunity to pit. They didn't take advantage of it. The lights are off on the pace car. And by the way, we have passed the scheduled distance by 2 laps. Overtime is upon us. Here is the first attempt at overtime. The leader will take the green. If a caution comes out before the white, we'll re-rack them, restack them, and go again. On the second attempt, if the leader takes the white flag, it is wreckers or checkers to the finish. If the leader takes the green on the second attempt and the caution comes out before the CRN1 to go, the field will be frozen at time of caution. We will then check all of our video replays to make sure the correct timing and finishing order is set. Overtime, number 1. Barnes looking for his first win, looking to go to the Final 4. Great restart in the box. He's back and gone in turn 1, and we're back underway.
I can't really say anything much. I mean, the 4's on the freshest tires out here. He's pretty much got this thing locked up. I mean, if another yellow comes out, I want to say if I'm these guys, pit. But right now, battle is for second, though. Coming to the white flag. Caden Anderson, Blake Peterson into 3 and 4.
Look at Ritters. Do you see Ritters? Ritters is up to 4th. White flag, CRN1 to go. Race is official. This is it. Wreckers or checkers. Ritters up to 4th. Watching him battle. Trying to split through Anderson and Peterson. All this happening with the 32, with the 23. Ritter's trying to go to second. He's there. He's there. Meanwhile, going to the Championship 4 at Homestead and his first career win of the Northwest as Anderson drives up the wall. It is Brian Barnes winning on a walk-off here at Phoenix. It's cold outside, but Brian Barnes is hot in the Northwest.
I cannot believe that Caden Anderson tried the Hail Melon. He tried it in 3 and 4. I didn't see that until he was coming to the checkers. Caden Anderson tried the Hail Melon, but it just wasn't enough. And oh my goodness, Toby Ritters P2. What a night and what a win for Brian Barnes.
And remember, Toby Ritters had problems earlier in the race. He was several laps down. He had that controversial caution with Reynolds. Maybe he knew he was faster than Reynolds. He was trying to clear him out of the way. Get out of my way. I'm faster than you. And what a restart. And Toby Ritters will now score his best career Northwest Racing Series Cup finish. Okay, he won in the trucks at Talladega. He'll now score his best career Cup finish of second. And Brian Barnes, welcome to the fraternity of the Northwest Racing Series victory lane. And I hope they tear his car all the smithereens in what is the high five salute. Brian Barnes, a walk-off, if you will, wins, gets his first career series win, and he's going to the championship 4. Joining unofficially right now, Dan West Jr. and Lake Peterson at Homestead, who will be the final driver. Here's a look at your final results. Brian Barnes, the winner. Toby Ritter, second. Where did he come from? Like a rocket out of a cannon. Lake Peterson, third. Cole Raz, fourth. Jeff Stabnow, fifth. Sixth is Dan West Jr. Seventh is Brett Johnson. Eighth is Frank Harris. Chris White, Sean Brightsman, your top 10. By the way, as you give the rest of the running order, Jason, I'm understanding that nobody had tires left. That is the reason why nobody pitted on that last caution. They were all out of tires.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a second. But 11th, Stephen Paulison. Brian Reynolds in 12th. You got John Ottenbacher there in 13th. Caden Anderson comes home 14th. Ryan Bloom 15th. Kevin Smith 16th. Gary Nichols 17th. James Vining in 18th. Chad Malik 19th. And Chris Vermeer in 20th. And then rounding out your field is Troy Daggett in the number 99.
Let's look at the race analysis for the final time. Bottom left in total, 6 caution flags. There were 10 in the truck race, but no attempted overtime. 6 yellow flags, 24 caution laps in total, and 11 lead changes. And the last lead change that counted the most is for Brian Barnes. Boy, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this one. You always remember your first day at school, your first pair of shoes, your first kiss, your first girlfriend, your first graduation, prom. Yeah, and you remember your first Northwest victory as well, just like real race car drivers do across America. And Brian Barnes is about to experience that and more, as he's also racing next Monday night for the championship at Homestead. Finish line post-race wrap-up coming up next from Phoenix. Welcome back to Phoenix Homesteads next week. The championship 4 will be decided. We'll unveil them here in a minute. Jason Rockefeller, I'm Wesley Outland. Coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, Rocket Racing Media, the Community Radio Network, and Brian Barnes, first career win on the series. He's also punched his ticket with the win of the Final Four next Monday night at Homestead. But we got the top 3 we're going to talk to here now on the podium. And, of course, joining us first is Caden Anderson. Caden will finish 3rd after the race and everything happening the way it did, buddy. Your take of this race and being here at the end. And I don't think Caden Anderson's here, is he?
No, he is not.
Caden Anderson is not here, so unfortunately, Caden Anderson will not be joining us for, obviously, post-race obligations. Don't say that I necessarily think that's professional, but it is what it is, especially after winning the truck race on Thursday. But he will not be here for 3rd place, so we'll go to 2nd place and join Toby Ritters, which, by the way, Toby, in addition to this, your win in the trucks in the Northwest at Talladega a few weeks ago, this is your best career finish of the Northwest Cup Series, man. Your take of the race, and what a wild restart there to finish in the 2nd spot.
Yeah, I almost blew it there, Wesley, at the beginning when I hit the inside wall. Yeah, I gave it all I got. The strategy worked into my favor. I was kind of sweating it towards the end. I didn't know if there was going to be a caution coming out or not. But that second to last caution, but I accidentally took somebody out, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I made 2nd place, Wesley. I'm getting better each race. I'm trying to strive every race, so.
Yeah, hey, Toby, man, great job tonight on your 2nd place. What would you say is better, 2nd place here in the Northwest Cup Series or that win back at Talladega, man? Because I could not believe how fast you were coming up through the field there. We saw you there coming to the white flag, and you were splitting them. You were going to the outside. What would you say was better? You like the 2nd place here in the Cup Series, or you like that win at Talladega?
I got to say the Talladega race I was more satisfied with because it was my first win. Yeah, that was a great win. I'll never forget that win. But this one here, he had too much of a jump on me there towards the end, and I couldn't catch him. But Briar, you did a good job, and I congratulate him. Awesome job.
Well, Toby, obviously, we'll talk to Brian Barnes here in just a few moments. But, man, your thoughts of the season and getting ready to go to Homestead next week, and obviously segue that into your sponsors. But I know you want to carry a lot of momentum going into 23 next year.
Yes, yeah, Wesley, definitely. For sure. That's why I started in the back. I'm trying to respect these chase drivers as much as I can. But it was towards the end, and I was just trying to give it all I had. But yeah, hopefully next season I got better stats and I can get some more wins.
Thunder Road, Budweiser, Clifford, the Big Red Machine. Toby Ritters will finish in the number 2 spot. Best career finish so far in the Northwest Racing Series for him. And another career first career win for the driver of the Popsicle Toyota number 4. Brian Barnes, welcome to Victory Lane. And what a way to do it. It's going to be memorable, no doubt about it.
Well, that's for sure. I was really surprised at that 20 to go caution that I was the only one with a leftover set of tires.
Yeah, Brian, great win here tonight, man. Congratulations. We were shocked up here in the booth because a lot of guys, you know, obviously they just burnt their stuff up, and plus with, you know, no extra set of tires there at the end of the race. You know, I mean, what a call for you guys. But now that this race is over, now you head into the next race, Homestead. You have a chance to run for a championship. How are you going to prep for that race, and how are you going to take it as the day goes on?
Well, the majors just finished the race there, so I've got a lot of laps at the moment. Of course, that was open setup, so it's all going to depend on what kind of a setup they're going to give us here to play with. But I'm looking forward to it. Been a great season playing with these guys all season long.
Brian, let's go back to the season, by the way. Your first career win is the win to put you in the playoffs here for the Final Four at Homestead next week, but you have been consistent. There's been several times that you've literally, hung right there with the drivers, been there in contention, had consistent, decent finishes to put yourself in an opportunity. What does it mean to be a walk-off driver, getting this first win, obviously, because I know you want to win on the series, but to do what you had to do strategy-wise, and when did the time come that you knew, man, I got a shot to win this race? Not only do I got a shot to get these points I need, but now I got a chance to beat these guys, and you got around them like they were sitting ducks, and obviously it's because of tires being used up, but, man, it definitely strategy for sure to put you in the place to do it.
Yeah, kind of feel like Christopher Bell here, getting the doing it when you had to do it. Really cool.
Well, listen, man, you are running for a championship next Monday night at Homestead. What are you going to do? What's the strategy to prep and prepare to try to battle with these guys? Because you've got some pretty top contenders that you've banged fenders with all year, and you're going to be right amongst them next Monday night.
We're going to have to do something with strategy, because this 63-year-old man can't hardly hang with these young kids. Yeah, we're going to hope to play a little strategy game. Hope I can make the tires last. The last time I was here in the WSRL, the setup was real loose after about 20 laps, and I couldn't drive it. So I hope it's not like that.
Well, listen, bud, thank your sponsors, and I hope you eat a whole damn refrigerator freezer full of popsicle tonight to celebrate your win, man. Congrats to you.
Oh, yeah, popsicles and maybe a beer. I tell you what. Thanks, guys.
Only fitting that it's popsicles and a beer, ironically, pardon the pun, in positions number 1 and 2 as well. And that, of course, is Brian Barnes. The Final Four are being unveiled, and it is officially set right now. Obviously, Lake Peterson is in. Dan West Jr. is in by virtue of a Vegas win. Lake Peterson winner at Dover. Brian Barnes is in tonight at Phoenix. And the final driver to make it in is the Daytona winner and the driver with the second most amount of wins of the year. Cole Raz will race for the championship Final Four. Jason, Peterson, West, Barnes, Raz. What a combination. We'll see them battle next week. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting battle for sure. I mean, Dan West Jr. has been so fast. I mean, Lake Peterson's been so fast, but I don't know, man. That Brian Barnes just gave an awesome interview. I'd really like to see him win. You know, Cole's in there too, but I gotta say, I don't really think anybody's gonna match up against Lake Peterson. He's been too strong this season. He came out here, showed up again tonight. Strategy didn't go the way he wanted to, but I think Lake Peterson is gonna be this season's champion.
No doubt about it. It will be fun and exciting to watch. And remember, we got a truck championship to decide on Thursday night as well at Homestead as the finale for the Northwest Racing Series. Trucks will be this Thursday night. We're live at Florence Motor Speedway. Terry Radford and myself, along with all the special content from the South Carolina Charlie Powell Memorial 30th Edition 400 for NASCAR and Finish Line and all the special content. But again, next Monday night, it's going to be Lake Peterson, Dan West Jr., Cole Raz by virtue of the points, and Brian Barnes, who won tonight finally at Phoenix. As always, follow us at iRacing on LSRTV, the Community Radio Network, and all of our other major social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. For Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, everybody at Live Sim Racing TV and iRacing on the Community Radio Network. For Mr. Jason Rockefeller. Jason, I'll let you give your quick thoughts real fast, and we'll get off the air, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, what a great race here tonight. You know, just like Thursday night, it ended up being a late race, run to the checkered. I mean, what a win. What a win for Brian Barnes. You know, first win for the season for him. And Toby Ritter's P2. Great job to Toby coming home P2. I mean, that was, one heck of a final, stride for him there at the end. And Caden Anderson tried the Hail Melon there in the final corner. Just, came up a little short, unfortunately. But what a race tonight. Saw a lot of guys getting loose there into turn 1 and off turn number 2. And really, it was just the left side's clip in the apron right below the yellow line in the corners. But overall, great race here tonight. I'm very excited and anticipating a great race next week for both the Cup and the Truck Series at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway.
Everybody, when you go to bed tonight or before you go to sleep, have some popsicles and beer for, of course, Brian Barnes and Toby Ritters. Of course, he's Jason Rockefeller. I am Wesley Outland. The Final Four set. Lake Peterson, Dan West Jr., Brian Barnes, winner tonight at Phoenix, and Cole Raz. They will battle next Monday night when the season comes down to the final race and the championship. Be good to one another. Enjoy the rest of your week. We have coverage Thursday for the trucks at Homestead, and again, the Cup finale next Monday.